So what is a first-generation student?
So I guess like to start off this conversation, I am also a first-generation student myself, but what I define a first-generation student is like somebody who had a parent or no parents, someone whose parents or parent has never been to college, and then I'll also add like an American college, so like a college in the U.S. But I say that because like there's a lot of people who like might not know what, or like their parents might not know what American universities are, and like therefore they can't really receive the support from their families because there isn't that knowledge behind them.
Okay. Yeah, and you and I mean, we've talked a little bit about this before, but why are you so passionate about this topic? Like, what is it about first-generation students that that means so much to you?
I think it's a point of pride. Like, so for me, like it was always like I didn't understand what a first-generation student was until when I applied to college, and then like throughout college. Like I think like as the first-generation students are like often under, like they don't have as much advantages as other students might have who have parents who've been at college, and therefore they don't understand the system, and they're left at like the margins. They're a little fine at college, and so one, they might not have the ability to apply to college or like the encouragement to apply to college, but then going through college itself is a whole nother ballgame, and by doing so, like it's tough. Like I remember, like I've always been like I guess like very vocal about being first gen, and where I went to school at Emory, like that conversation never happened, and therefore it was like one's already an invisible identity. Like you can't tell by the looks of someone, and, oh he's first gen or she's first gen. And so it's kind of like isolating in that sense, whereas like for other like if you're trying to find like racial groups, like that's easier to identify. Whereas like for a first gen student, like they can't decide to like look and find people. Like there needs to be like spaces allocated just for first generation students that's like labeled as such.
Yeah, like I don't even know how you define
exactly.
How you would even start in college. Like how do you even find people like that? I guess like that's
exactly. So like actually recently there's been like a trend of like getting institutional support from either the college or like student organizations will be created for first gen students, like specifically, and then from there they'll host events that typically geared just for first gen students. So like you like self-identify as such, and then you would enter those spaces, and then you can meet people who identify like as first gen themselves. Whereas like it's I guess like socially awkward. Like, oh, are you first gen? Like, right off the bat, like, and then so
what if they're not? Right? Like, no, I'm not. Okay, see you later. This conversation's not going to happen, right?
But yeah, no, like, and so like I would say like that's idea, but like that thing never existed to me at Emory for the first 2 years I was there. And so like though I was vocal about it, like not many people were, and like I guess like there's like the stigma behind like being seen as like underprivileged, and that's why like a lot of that conversation was never there. But that put a lot of pressure into a lot of other students. Like I remember my sophomore year, like one of my friends like we ended up being like really good friends by the time we graduated. But as a sophomore, like we weren't necessarily talking every day, but she like burst into like tears in my room. She was just like, it is so hard being here as a first generation student.
Wow.
Yeah, because like well, it's also like, well, you don't necessarily have to be like low income to be first generation, but both of us have to be first generation low income students.
Okay.
And Emory is a place where many parents have gone to college, and then like they're also super wealthy. And so like that part's also like just weird socially, academically we're not as prepared as other students are, because they might have like tutoring, like or like just some sort of like way to get supplemental information within like the education system. Whereas us, like we're on oftentimes on our own. And yeah, so she came in like just crying to me, and I was just like, it's sad. Like I don't know why, but I guess like my transition from high school to college wasn't as rough as it is for a lot of other first generation students, but that was like when I realized like there was a problem here or an issue here, and there was like no mechanisms to solve it. And then like like there had been no like discussions, no like literally like places or like spaces to be in where like you can like celebrate being first generation. Well,
I think part of it though too is people are just confused, right? So sometimes they might think first generation is more applying to your ethnicity, right, versus then just your. Because I remember when we first started talking about this, I figured, oh wait, I'm a first generation student because my parents are from India, and so I thought that's what we were talking about. And then talking to you, just clearly realized how far off mark I was on that. So, but let's talk a little bit about that though, just in terms of your background, if you don't mind, right? So, let's talk about high school a little bit, right? So, you were in high school in Edison?
South Brunswick. It's actually like only 20 minutes away from Edison.
Okay.
But yeah, I went to South Brunswick High School. It was actually a really large school. About my graduating class was 800 people big, about so it's 3,200 people in school, and it was weird, like in the sense that it was a good school, but it also had like this lack of funds for certain students. Like, for example, like if you had students from all achieving groups, like
what do you mean achieving groups?
like people who are like in like high achieving students
Okay.
or like lower achieving students, and so like it was also weird to see like how it like trended with income or like correlated with income. So, like the high achieving students often came from high income backgrounds, whereas like the lower achieving students came from like lower income backgrounds. And that put me, like, as a low-income student, as a first-generation student, in those high-achieving classes, like, at a weird position because I was able to relate to them academically, but socially they were like, oh, I'm just going to go to tutoring. I was like, oh, that's great.
Right.
I've never had
tutoring.
Right,
Exactly. Sounds nice.
Or, like, they would be like, like, it would just be like, oh, if you want to work, I was like, oh, you work? And I'll be like, yeah. They're like, so you spend it on yourself? I was like, no, I give it to my family sometimes. Right. And they're like, oh, like, I was like, okay, well, that's weird. Yeah. This conversation's not necessarily the best flowing conversation.
Right.
But yeah, and then it was also weird just because, like, I was able to see, like, the difference, because, like, the friends I hung out with were from, like, the lower income background, and therefore, like, I would see, like, what they were doing in high school, like, at the same grade as me versus what I was doing in high school, and, like, that was different. Because I was like, okay, well, there's, like, clearly, like, a lack of encouragement from teachers from like the lower achieving side versus like me taking like all of AP and honors classes. But the weird part was like I don't think my high school ever had like an explicit college going culture. Like it was kind of just like
a lot of high schools are that way.
It was like unconscious, like oh they'll go to college, but like there wasn't like any like college counseling done. Like I never met with my guidance counselor until I only met with her once every single year to just say what classes I'm going to, so I can build my schedule. And then like I only started to meet with her literally just because like I was like I need a counselor's signature to apply to college. And like that was also different. Like my counselor and like the administration, they were not the best in terms of like supporting students. Like often I would have to like go inside the door and like they would not answer any of my emails. And so I would have to like go find like not even like book or like schedule an appointment. I would just like go on my own to the office to like get this thing signed because I needed to apply to college. But yeah, it was weird. I mean, like I ended up like doing moderately well, so that was good.
Well, so where'd you get your motivation though, right? So I think that's something, we work with a lot of schools, and we work with schools from different cities, different income demographics, all different types. So generally we find that motivation is probably the toughest thing that we have to work through. So what about you? I mean, where did you find your motivation? Like, why did you even want to go to college? Like, was it more because all these other kids were going to college, and you're like, yeah, I should do that too? I mean, was there something with your family that made you want to do that? I mean, help me understand that.
So it was, for my family, it was different. Like, my dad actually wanted me to, like, after graduation, start working. Okay. Whereas my mom was like, I would say it sounds weird, but like I am very different than the rest of my siblings in terms of like academic achievement. Like I would always be like on the highest honor roll, and then like it would like not be on the honor roll. And so like my mom had different expectations of me versus my siblings. So she was like, oh, you can get into Harvard. Like I know you can. And so like that was like a weird dichotomy between my dad like, okay, let's go start working, versus my mom. She was like, you're really smart. Like you can do something. Like go somewhere big.
That self-esteem building is so important.
And like I actually didn't even internalize that. Like I was just like under the impression that I was just gonna start working. So like going to college was actually not something that I was gonna think of until like I saw like scholarships. But like the motivation behind applying to college was just like I would say like I knew I was smart in high school, and like the people that I would go to classes with, when I was doing a little bit better than them, but they were able to get into good colleges. And like the seniors, before when I was a junior, like the seniors, like I was in the same classes with them, and they were going to good school. And I was like, okay, I can actually get into a good school, maybe. Like there was always that like maybe that like little like voice in the back of my head saying I can't do it.
Yeah.
But I was like, what's like my number? Like
Yeah.
that's like I was like, okay, I have a fair shot.
Yeah.
But like in terms of so the numbers part was good. Like my SAT scores weren't great because like I've never studied for them. I literally took it once and I got a decent score, and then I decided to take it again, but I didn't study for it between that time. And I think like literally the day before I memorized like 25 vocab words, and I was like, okay, this is good. And I think I got like 10 points better.
Okay.
But like, I
So
think
you didn't take any type of like test prep class or anything like that?
oh, not at all. And I didn't even realize there were like free resources online to
Yeah.
help with that. Like,
Right.
I never thought Google.
Well,
would
what did the school provide though, right? I mean, so like realistically, right? So like, okay, you want to say you're just a random student at your high school. What was the plan for college, right? Like, was there a discussion? Did the guidance counselor come and talk to you and say, like, okay, because I think it's helpful for people to understand, like, what is it like in most high schools, at least when you're thinking about going to college, right? Whether you're first gen or not, like, what was the discussion like, or what was the program like?
With my guidance counselor,
Was it really like non-existent?
it was nothing. It's either like I think like they're expected to like initiate that conversation, but that
You were expected to initiate that conversation.
I guess like the only conversation, like I said before, like the only conversations I had with my guidance counselor up until my senior year was like what classes should I take next year, or
Yeah.
what classes am I like permitted to take with like scheduling conflicts or whatnot.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until my senior year that I was like, hey, I'm planning on applying to college. This is how I'm applying to college. And she was like, oh yeah, that's great. And then when she helped me out,
Sure.
but like it was me starting that conversation.
Okay.
And like I never asked like about other students,
Okay.
like what their guidance counselors were like.
Okay.
So like,
And then what was it like when, because, you know, with the college application process, right, it starts to really kind of ramp up
Mhm.
your senior year, right? So, like, did you get any help with, like, your essay, rec letters? Like, what did that look like, right?
Mhm.
Because there's so many components of that application, right? So, like, how did you hack it almost, basically?
yeah. Well, like since I never thought about applying to college, I actually like never knew that I should like develop relationships with teachers. Like I had good relationships with teachers that I would participate in class, but it wasn't like I would go outside just to, like meet them and like get to know them more. So like they knew me like almost purely as a student, minus like the personality I would show in class. And like since I was like a good student, I was able to like get good letters of recommendation, especially like my letters of recommendation came from my Latin teacher and my chemistry teacher.
Mhm.
And both of them knew me like my junior year and my senior year. I took classes with them both years. So they knew me like pretty well. But like in terms of applying to college, like I didn't apply through the Common App. I actually applied through this website called or scholarship organization called Questbridge.
Yeah.
And like the benefit of that was that I didn't have to pay for any like college application fees.
Mhm.
And like Questbridge is only for like high achieving low income students. So I was like, okay, this purely matches who I am. And so like actually I like didn't believe that was a thing at first. So like the way they described it, I think it was like a full 4-year ride for like, low income high achieving students. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is who I am. Like, but I was like, is this real? Like, and then that, like, I think I did like 2 days of research, just like looking at student testimonials. Like that was like the only time I think I actually researched stuff for college. And so like they offered like they're partners with a lot of like high or like very highly selective schools, like a lot of the Ivy League schools, like a lot of like those top tier liberal art colleges. Where I went to school was at Emory, and that was one of the partner schools. And so like the way it works is it's a very early application. Like the application was due in September, and I only found out about it late August.
Okay.
And so like there's like 2 rounds. Like you have to become a finalist first before you can apply for the scholarship. So I was able to get to the finalist stage, and then once you do that, you select schools in which you can apply for the full scholarship. And I actually didn't end up getting the full scholarship, but like the next round we regular decision round. And like you apply to 8 schools for the first. Sorry, it's like a very tricky thing. Like,
Yeah, it is.
At that time, like it's now more schools you can like apply to. Like there was only 8 schools that you can like rank. And Emory was not on one of them. Like I wanted to be at home, close to New Jersey, so I applied to schools in Pennsylvania, like the Massachusetts area, and like New York. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go to Georgia. Like, I remember seeing Emory. I never heard of Emory. Actually, and then like I saw it was in Georgia. I was like, yeah, no, this is not me. So I never ranked it as one of those top 8 schools, and I did very little research at all in terms of like what schools I actually wanted to go to. So that was like another challenge that I didn't even know was a challenge.
Yeah.
Like I was just going to the college admissions process very blindly. I was like, okay, well, this school seems cool. I've heard of this school, so I'll apply there. But it wasn't like, okay, I want to go to this school for like this specific reason, or they have a great program in this department. So it was just like, okay, well, this school looks nice on like Google Images or like on like paper.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this works.
Which, by the way, I think is how kind of most kids look at college. Right? It's not a bad thing. I mean, you ended up at Emory University, and you end up getting a great degree out of it. But at the end of the day, right? I mean, we see too often, and we see this all the time. You know, kids, that's how they're kind of selecting colleges, right?
Oh, yeah.
Versus kind of understanding, like, hey, what am I passionate about? What am I interested in? And maybe building a target list around that, right?
Yep.
So, you know, and I think part of that too, you know, when I look at that, is that somebody in high school, just somebody somewhere, should maybe have a conversation with you about this. And I think that's what this is helpful for, is, you know, helping students understand that you need to have that conversation at some point. So I guess maybe that would be my question for you, right? It's like, now looking back on it, right? It's like what would you tell another first-gen student to maybe think about, and they're kind of going through that same kind of high school process, right? Like, what would you suggest to them or advise to them?
Well, one, if there's nobody around that they can get help from, like nobody they can trust, or like want to go to, there's Google, and there's like Facebook groups actually for college admissions processes.
Okay.
That I actually didn't know about. And then like I only started being there to help students out with their applications, like when I was in college. But like if you Google stuff, there's like ways for you to learn the college admissions process without receiving any sort of like outside support. But I would say like mainly like you've gotten this far in your education, you can definitely go further. Like I think that was like something that like just encouragement, like emotional and moral support. Like that was something that was not necessarily missing, but it could have been like more explicit while I was applying to college. And then like especially with the rejections part, like I applied to a lot of colleges, got into colleges, but I also got rejected from colleges. Like I think like actually like all the rejections came first. So I was like, okay, so this isn't going anywhere.
This isn't trending well.
And so like I was like actually like on a very low like self-esteem at that point. Then like the first college acceptance I got was Emory. And I don't, to be honest, I actually didn't remember applying to college. Applying to Emory, sorry. Because of the way it works with like the Westridge is like if you don't get the full scholarship, you can just forward your applications to all the partner schools. And it was literally just like pressing a checkbox, which I don't suggest people doing. I just did it because I was like, it's free, and I was like, let's see where I get it. So I remember that I was getting my acceptance letter, and I was like, what is this school? And then I did research, and I was like, oh, it's that school, like, which was weird. Like, it was just like a very, like, a lot of students are like expecting their answers, and they're like, oh my god, I got into X college. I was like, oh, well, I got into here, I guess. And then, like, I didn't even realize, like, how good of a school it was until I told, like, my teachers as well as my friends. They were like, really? You got into that school? I was like, yeah. Like very nonchalant about my experiences. Because I actually really didn't know anything about Emory at all. Like, and, like, given where I am, like, living in New Jersey, not many students go south. Like, since there's, like, a lot of colleges in the Northeast area. So, like, they would know of it, but, like, I never knew of any students that went there. And so like the friends would, they're like, yeah, it's a really good school. And then like the people, like my neighbors would ask me, they're like, whoa, you got into Emory? And I was like, yeah. I was like, okay, well, I guess so. And I feel like that also relates to being a freshman too. Like, but like the obliviousness of applying to college, like you don't know your potential, and then like by not knowing your potential, like you also don't know what that means. Like I know like a lot of my other freshman students, like or friends. Like they would get into like Ivy League universities. Like one of my friends, like she got into Cornell. I think she was wearing like a Cornell T-shirt on like a train, and then like a random stranger was just like, "Whoa, we got into Cornell," and then like that's what her mom, like, it hit her mom that like, "Whoa, this is a really like good school and like it's really hard to get into."
For sure.
And that actually was like similar to my mom because like she never heard of Emory, neither did I, and so she was like, "Why do you want to go all the way to Georgia to go to school?" Like when we got into school in the surrounding area, and then like she would hear like people like commenting like, about how great it was, and she's like, it became like a point of pride for her as well. And I think that's what relates to like the bigger first-gen story. Like being a first-generation student is not just about you; it's about your family. Because like now you can like lift as you climb. Like that's like the slogan I like. So like I guess like moving up this like socioeconomic ladder. Now you're
Sure.
pulling your family with.
That's important. You know?
Mhm.
I mean, I think like that's a big motivation for a lot of kids.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because as you're talking, right, you can't help but think about your own personal story, right? And so obviously, well, as I've shared, right, I'm a non-first gen college student, right? And my household, it was perform or die, right? Like that's really what it was, right? And so, you know, don't get too mad, mom or dad, but I'm just saying that, you know, there was a lot of pressure, right?
Yeah.
And so it was very purposeful when it came to college, right? So I kind of had like a very specific list already targeted, right? I ended up going to University of Michigan because there was a good business school there, and that was kind of the plan and those types of things, right? And so hearing your story of kind of like, you know, put some kind of feelers out there, ended up getting into one of the best schools is a great story. But again, I think it really shows that, you know, perhaps if someone had just sat down with you, maybe you would have ended up at Emory anyway, right? But if
Yeah.
someone had sat down and just said, okay, here's maybe what you might be interested in, here's some of the requirements, but let's talk a little bit about who you are, right? Like, what do you care about? What do you want to do, right? Then maybe you might have still ended up there, but at least you would have been a little bit more informed through the process and maybe kind of, you know, open up even some more options. What was it like, kind of expectation versus reality, right? So like you got there, you finally got on campus, you know, were you prepped? Like, so that's the one thing I'm curious about is like, you know, did you, I guess there was, you know, they have some kind of onboarding events for families
Yep.
and those types of things, but like, what was your expectation like, and then what did it end up being like? Was it close?
So I
How
think that
far
was
off?
like my first day was definitely the first day of being a first
Yeah.
generation student. Like I still didn't know what that term was until I was in college, but it was definitely weird. Like my roommate, his parents went to school, and so like they knew what to bring. Like we actually bought most of the stuff in our room or in my room, like the day of, like because like we
Yeah.
were like, oh, well,
Right.
he brought that.
You need a bed sheet.
oh,
Yeah, yeah.
oh no, we brought a bed sheet.
Okay, all right.
But,
I didn't. All right,
so. But like let's say like we didn't bring like a separate drawer to keep stuff because we didn't realize how much like non-furniture will be in our like rooms.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that was different, and then like the reality of just like entering the dorm was also significant. I was like, okay, I did this. Like that was like an achievement I had. Like say a year set. Like the August of 2013 was like the year I entered college. The August of 2012. I don't think I had imagined myself being in my shoes that following year.
Okay.
And so like I remember that being like a very significant moment for my family. But then like for the first gen part, like I didn't know that there was orientation this day.
Okay.
And so like we were like planning on hanging out, and then like, oh no, you have orientation
Yeah.
to go to. No, like what's orientation
Right.
to begin with?
Right.
And so like I think they were just like in my dorm, like just chatting with like my roommates'
Yeah.
parents and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and like the other parents like lingering around. But like the parents, like they checked like what the orientation schedule was like,
Yeah.
and they like were able to like just like find ways, and like a lot of them were just like, okay, well we're gonna be here, we'll be like eating somewhere here, and then like we'll regroup and like have dinner as a family.
Yeah.
My family was like, okay, well we need to go to work, so
Yeah.
they're okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
like,